I'm handling this jive turkey up here, right? He telling it like everybody like, Yaku whooping his ass. They really believe in it, right? But it's all Hollywood, and he gathered a lot of following. Like, yeah, pretty much. Said it, Ron. Let me write that down. They go. You said it. He gained. That's how he went around gaining his following. And then another tactic that he used, said like if you was out there talking to a crowd and you got a whole crowd listening to you, Yaku, he was so smart, he'll sit there and listen to you for a couple minutes, and then as soon as you make one mistake, he'll jump out of nowhere and say, "See, we got it." He'll jump out of nowhere, and then he'll explain the mistake you made, and then everybody will be like, "Oh, he right." And then they turn to Yaku. He still all your followers. And he still all the people that you was talking to. Yaku had a slick, funny method of getting his followers. He got about 59,000 followers. Mm-hmm.
It's a kind artist born in every era that's great.
That's deep.
Just let that sink in. P.T. Barnum says it's a sucker born every minute.
Yeah.
And the description of a sucker back then was a sucker was the one willing to pay $1 to be duped.
Dang. That's cool. Paradigm around though. Now I gotta research, do a whole nother. It's like I gotta start from scratch, knowing that hey, these buildings were here. This empire was here. A lot of, and that's, we only showed a couple, but buildings in Philadelphia, Chicago, San Francisco was built up just like Chicago. San Francisco was built up just, and Queen Khalifa's castle, Alcatraz. All this was built all up, man, before they came a long time ago.
Look, we're gonna have to revisit the castles to show you what the prisons and stuff look like.
Yeah.
And I'm working on Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
Yeah.
I'm working on doing something to him because I ain't sure he need to be in prison. So I want the people to be look at his situation from a fresh set of eyes as we walk through the Ted Kaczynski story, who he is and what he did, why he done it. Because why he done it was written, he wrote it in the manifesto. That's what they used to catch him. His brother Carter, the one turned him in.
Wow.
I don't want no brother like that.
Judas. Own brother.
Anyway, so with most people preach the need for change. But when violence is the only available resolution to the destruction of the future, you can't be willing to shy away from it if, one, you're telling the truth, two, you believe in the cause, and three, you know somebody got to do something, and ain't nobody doing that. Right. So now you have to take it up on yourself because you can't see certain stuff and just let it go. There is no normal grown adult man that'll walk in on another grown adult man raping a child and don't whoop his ass automatically. Right. So sometimes the violence is required for what you're supposed to do with your life. Right. So I mean, the government use violence on us all the time. Right. Police bust us in the head with batons, shoot us in the back, shoot our kids, shoot our women, shoot our sons. Right. So the government, they come in, they snatch our children up, put them in foster care, sell them on the black market. Child Protective Services sell children on the black market.
Sure do. That's what it was set up for. Well, it got infiltrated. It got infiltrated and turned into that.
That's what it started as.
Yeah.
They got infiltrated to try to fix it, and they couldn't fix it.
Oh, okay. That's what it was.
It was always a child trafficking vehicle.
That's right. By the
Right.
by
So
the people.
if you look at it like this, you need 10 children, you run into 500 homes and say, I lost 10 kids. Somebody gonna say nothing.
Yeah.
It's possible to lose 10 kids when you ran and took up children out of 500 homes.
Yeah.
10 kids can get lost. Now, depending on how many kids was in each one of the houses, anywhere from 3 to 8.
Yeah.
So you lost 10 kids. That's not a bad loss. So people accept it. It's an acceptable loss on collateral damage. And they put it out in the open so that you won't ever know that they only needed that 10 all along, and they took the other 5,000 families' children just to conceal the theft of the 10.
Damn, that's cold, boy.
It's con artistry. It's con artistry. That's what they do.
They the best there is. Well, they ain't the best there is, but they pretty close.
Look, Child Protective Services had more arbitrary power than any agency in the country. They didn't need no court order, no judge warrant to have the police come in and take your child.
Damn.
All they needed was a complaint that they was acting on. That's it. And they can activate the police on their own without a judge.
Damn.
That's how you know they're illegal.
Yeah. That's definitely illegal. Hey, we'll take this one question, Raw, and then we'll get up out of here. Somebody said anything about the chat.
That movie Ruby Falls came. I've came across it in some readings, but I don't know a lot about it.
Ain't that in Florida, I think? Alabama?
Chattanooga, that's Tennessee.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Okay, Tennessee. It's like I heard of Chattanooga and Alabama, I think. But all them names be native families that was that's over that area. Most of them names like that.
When they start we didn't use last name. We use tribal names, which is your nickname. Right? So when they start giving us tribal last names, they start using what we name stuff like rivers and creeks.
Yeah.
Like the word creek.
Yeah.
You got people last name Creek. They literally Creek Indians.
Yeah.
Right? And rivers.
Mm-hmm.
They might have been Mississippi River, Missouri River, Ohio River, Grand River, but whatever the river was, the river's family was from the rivers. Right? So a lot of us end up with the names, even the tribes. Like majority of the tribes they mentioned today was named by the colonizers before they erased our identity.
Yep, that's right.
We didn't name ourselves a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like when we were saying we was China, they was calling us Choctaw.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now you got two different tribes spinning out of the mispronunciation of the name of the original tribe.
Yep. That's right.
Right. So we won't go too much into it, but they, in order to win the war, they have to make us forget who we are to the degree that we can't competently explain where we came from on the land. A Mississippi Claiborne Walker. I can tell you where my mama bloodlines is from, where my father bloodlines from, old Mississippians. Right? I don't have to go into all that because I know who I am. I could just tell them, you got to prove I don't know who I am.
That's right. There you go, bro.
If I know who I am, you got to prove me wrong.
That's right.
If I tell you I was already here and show you where you land at, then you can't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I literally point directly to your lie and say, this is your lie. I didn't own it. You keep it.
Right.
Now you have to come with another rendition of the story without using the lie as the foundational point of reference in the debate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody using academia to tell the same lie under a coded set of scripts. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to fall for it. I'm not going to participate in your debates arguing what your scholar said. I'm just gonna tell you you lying. And you know I know that you the lying liar that lied about the lies you lied about.
That's right.
And you got caught. And I pulled your card on your lies. Now the people beginning to see what Ryan Hayes been saying all along. He ain't crazy. We was already here because when I went and asked my grandma, when I went and asked my uncle, when I went and did my lineage, and how is they finding all this stuff out if I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about?
Right.
Can't happen. People thought they was African American until they heard Ryan Hayes, and now they realized that, hold up, that's some trickery shit, and I ain't falling for it.
Yeah, Jesse Jackson.
They went and did their ancestry and found out I was right.
Right.
And I ain't the one to say I told you so, because that's the last thing I want to tell you. If you don't want to believe me, just keep watching. You're going to see it all play out.
Right.
I be so sincere, and I be telling the truth, even if it sounds like it's so fantastic I'm making it up.
Hey.
But I ain't making it up. It's real. None of this stuff is new. From the energy to the longevity, medical equipment, from the old systems that they found, repurposed and modernized for this era.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We had all that stuff already. Ain't none of it new.
Right.
The disease fighting, the chemical warfare, biological warfare, that shit ain't new. We did that in several different cycles. Because it serves a purpose for the goal of what the overall cycle was intended to do. Catharsis. And I'm going to leave it at that, L.
Hey, well, we can get up out of here, bro. Hey, tonight, though, I'm going to tell you, man. So, like, we ain't got to believe that. We was over here in TPs and thongs with spears when they came, and we was all nice guys and retarded. Come on, man. Man, we was already ancient, we was like past what we at now. We were past what we at now before they reset us. Let's think about that, man. That's a hard pill to break. It ain't no hard pill to swallow. It's hard to break your mind around how they did us, man. It's just hard. But we cleared some of it up. We're gonna be back on that. We might do one on the councils, man. We got one on the council. I'm gonna lock the council one and the natural disaster.
The fires and the floods.
Yeah, I'm gonna lock them two in after the show. I think it was one more that you said. I got it written down that I'm gonna lock in, so it's like 3 tapes. But y'all hit that like. Like I said, if you want to show, hit that like before you get out of here, y'all. And like I say, if you had showed Chief some love, we still got the Cash App on the screen. Man, send them $5. It ain't gonna bother you. It ain't. You gonna spend that on some bubble gum and a Black and Mild or something, and a cup of coffee. You know what I'm saying? Help us out here, man. Look, but like I say, we're gonna be back, and we're gonna keep you. I'm gonna be back to update y'all on the government shutdown. I'm gonna get more to what's all about to transpire, so we keep y'all updated on that. So we're gonna keep y'all in the loop on everything that's going down. It's all happening as planned. It's all happening as planned, man. It's the end of the parasitics, the parasites that's been feeding off us, keeping us in this fiat debt system. Their time is up, man. It's a wrap. Ain't Big Mama don't want to do business with them no more. Big Mama don't want none more of their business. You know what I'm saying? They don't do good business. They known for not doing good business. Everywhere they go. So Big Mama don't want no more business with them. We don't want to sign no more contracts. Run our goal and kick rocks pretty much. You can kick rocks after that. You know what I'm saying? Kick rocks. All right, we out of here, y'all. Free the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York. Like I say, peace to all the matriarchs on the land. Shout out Empress Radbird. Free Larry Hoover. Free Jeff Fort. The Air Rookin. We need the Air Rookin. We need Big Mama's Rook home.
Ooh,
right?
Man.
The Air Rookin.
Man, that'll make my day to be able to sit in go to Chicago.
The Chanu, the cartouche out the way. Hold on a second. Let me get this out the way. We had a good conversation because I haven't. Rod, have you ever heard anybody talk about, all the woke folks? Has anybody spoke about knots? And if not, why not? Being that we are surrounded by knots.
Only person who I know that wrote about the knots was Malachi in a book called Uman and Thuman, and
Ooh.
it's about the. I think he touched on the 13 knots that was put on the rope and put in the well to curse Muhammad. I just read.
Ooh. Ooh.
But there is like a naval guide to making knots. When you study shamanism, they tell you about the power of using knots to like trap energy. They'll just like you binding the rope, you are binding the energy. You know, in the Christian church, they tell you to bind the devil. How you gonna bind? What you gonna bind him with?
Ooh.
Right. So you either gonna have ropes to bind him, which you would be tying him up at that case, or you got chains in which you need locks to lock him up. And a lock is an artificial knot used to tie two things together.
Wow. You know, was it you or Risha Stone said the original Islamic prayer necklace was knots? Who said that?
Yeah, now they do Dikra. It's called Dikra. But they changed it into beads because, you know, Catholics have their hands in Islam too. But initially it was knots. The 99 attributes of Allah.
Yeah. They actually used to have a priest who was trusted to make the dicker. It was like he was his like family job, and he was what you would call a knot tire in reference to the conversation, because he knew how to call on each one of the names to influence the knot that he's binding into the name.
I'm saying.
Wow.
Spiritual technology.
That's heavy.
I'm gonna tell you where you seen it and you didn't know where you was looking. You remember them shows like Knights of Arabia, and you have the prince with a rope around his waist?
Oh, I got a knot belt right here. And I'm gonna be honest, Jethro, the Clamptons. What's the name of that show? Beverly Hillbillies. That's the first time I seen a rope. The first time I seen a rope belt.
Remember, as soon as you mentioned it to me, that was the first thing I told you. Jethro had a rope belt.
Yep. And I was like, wow. Somebody said Zorro. I don't remember Zorro having a rope belt. Did he?
Yeah, because he wore the cape and he didn't have a buckle belt.
Man.
I'm gonna tell you where else you seen it at. You ever see the Druids with the brown robes? They all got the rope tied around their waist with the knots in it.
I was gonna say the Masonic Lodge.
Wow.
They got it too.
The signers.
Now it became heavily involved in the abilities of a longshoreman is to learn the science of tying the knots.
Wow.
Right? So when he's using these different knots, the more knots he can tie, the more experience he have as a longshoreman. And that's why we have a naval guide to knot tying. It's not until you study shamanism did you know that the practice of knot tying is tied to ancient mystic sciences, ancient mystic arts.
Deep. I like what the sister just said. Our hair Bantu knots.
All of our hairstyles was for to serve a spiritual energy harvesting purpose for the soul. Your hair is your antenna. Medusa didn't have snakes, she had dreadlocks, but she was able to use what we call static electricity to make them zap motherfucker. Because she was able to maximize the output of her mitochondria and tune into her own frequency.
Wow.
Remember, you can rub somebody's head like this to develop static electricity. Right. So what we used to call them sacred locks, they became dreadlocks during the Mau Mau rebellion. because the Mau begin to knot them up, following the tradition of the roster. So when they go through the Mau ceremony, they either shave their head bald or they put it in locks.
Wow. I remember one time during a relaxing moment, one of the most beautiful memories is when a sister just let her locks out and just allowed her locks to just like cascade over my face, over my neck, chest, and waist. I was like, what? Yeah, why does that feel so good? I mean, there was something to it. I was like, oh, is she trying to knock me up?
Hey, when you said that, I heard what old song said, "This must be heaven."
Yeah. Oh, because it felt so good. It felt so good, you know. And then I'm thinking about, you know, sisters, y'all got knot magic, because you can knot up a brother in that sacred night dance. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that old juju trick they tell you? Get his feet and tie the panties in a knot. Right, it's a certain amount of knots you got to tie the drawers in and go bury it in the front yard.
Yo, I'm talking about anatomically. Have you ever met? They call them sisters. They can knot it up. You can't go nowhere.
We call that the gorilla grip. She got the gorilla grip.
No, I'm just, it's just life experiences I'm just sharing, because I was a geek,
We wouldn't get to our age if we didn't develop some life experience along the way.
Yeah, you got that right. Who would want to be our age and we say on YouTube, well, I'm a virgin, I don't know anything. Come on, y'all. There's at least, let me see, we got almost 150 years of, well, with the audience included, we got countless decades and centuries in all of the audience. We a library right here.
I see.
We a library. So I want to give a special acknowledgement to my brother who really is, I want to have him on the show also in the future, Sheikh Sufi. And I had invited him, but I think he's either in Morocco or Senegal. And one thing he did say is, in Sufism, there's a lot of knots that would be considered either high science or magic.
Sufism and calligraphy.
Say what?
The knots, they drawn in calligraphy.
Wow.
So remember I said it's the intricate design of the calligraphy, and they capturing the energy of the surah. So, see, look, you remember what I said? Look, our Sufi is the Sophia, the Ain Sof. All of their rituals are what we used to call women's rights rituals. Because there was a war and a raid on the sisterhood, the men had to teach a daughter in secret while they practice it in the open to keep this practice alive. Because we have to be able to jar our memory as to the purpose of the whirling dervish. That's an old Atlantean ceremony.
Wow.
And you had the tribes would dress in like the fire tribe. They would light the end of their dresses on fire in the world. Wow. The water tribe, they would come in, they would wear theirs would be white with water all on the floor, and they would spin around and sling water.
Wow.
Right, but they all had to find a center. You can't continuously spin without fainting unless you find your center.
Powerful.
It's the spinning top. So in determining your spiritual balance is how well you can match your frequency and vibration to the vibration of everything going on around you. Once you find your center, now you are spinning from a pivot point. The quintessential spinning top, which is the shape of your aura. So
That's heavy because I'm just thinking when we put a car tire on the axle, we tighten it, and it better be tight as a knot. You know, think
Where
about
you
it.
think screws and bolts come from? Mimicking knots.
Would you say that again?
Where you think screws and bolts come from? From mimicking knots.
Mm. You know what, Chief Rod? Orisha Stone family. Sometimes I just lay on my couch and I was thinking about knots. I think there's a certain arrangement of knots that creates anti-gravity, invisibility, levitation, regeneration, kundalini activation, prosperity. I think a sister, if she know how to intuitively, or a brother knows how to.
That's Yogi science. You talking about.
Oh, tell us about that. Go ahead now.
The shape of the 8,
Ooh.
right? It's also the heart is, you can unroll the heart. Most people don't know that. You can unroll the heart. You can unroll it. It's one muscle folded on top of each other in a knot.
Mm.
And that's how you get your ventricles.
Mm.
All right. So when you tying everything up in a knot, you got to also reverse engineer it in order to see where else is it used in nature.
Wow.
But the figure 8 is also so they call it the Yoni science because the figure 8 is around the vagina and the clitoris.
Oh, shoot. I never thought of that.
It's the nerve centers. But now, as the energy moves through the figure 8, right, it speeds up. That's called arousal.
Wow.
Triggered by oxytocin.
I know. I want to acknowledge OJ Yemi for even making this. Yo, Goddess OJ Yemi, we giving you a special appreciation because she's the mystic one who made this happen. She's the pie. She's the pie master creating the mix. So thank you, OJ Yemi, because this is fun. Yo, you know what? Yo, Rod, you talking stuff. I haven't even heard the Taoist teacher, special acknowledgement, Montauk Chia, but he ain't never said nothing about the clitoris and the yoni figure 8 and then locking it up and not letting you out the gate. I mean, that's next level, man.
Mm-hmm.
That means you shut down till your kundalini rise up and come around. That's deep.
Yeah. And now I noticed this. The woman have similar cells in her vagina that she have in her heart.
Wow.
So her heart is literally tied to her vagina.
Wow. I know Lester Lovin said that when a goddess, remember we gotta change the language. When a goddess is correctly aroused, her juices is rich in DMT.
Not only that, there's chemicals in it. It's like a queen bee. All of the bees that's female don't get to mate. They got to have the right chemistry. We have a similar thing among people, but because the arts and the sciences, we lost it all because of war. But it's still in the ancient writings what we call hieroglyphs and petroglyphs. And you can still see all of this stuff. Like the biology and the astrology is being written in the form of root types across the hieroglyphics and Kemet. They telling you a star system story and a biology story about a part of your body all in one symbol. Mm-hmm. Wow. And then they arrange the symbolism to mimic the stellar alignment so that you can have what they call an eternal clock, a clock that tells you how to reach eternity. And the only way to reach eternity is to realize deep in your soul that you are eternal.
Mm.
That realization activates your heart center
Mm.
to open up your mind to your secondary heart.
Mm.
Right? So now your heart-mind connection becomes the union of Tahuti and Sophia.
Wow.
So it's all the sacred love ritual that goes under the banner of the Holy Drama as a sub-story.
Mm.
Because Horus God, Heru has to know how to ascend to his father's seat. But after the war, how is he going to remember? We need to leave a map. So we tell the Holy Drama story in every primitive culture on the planet, and we might change the name of the seven spirits in the Orisha to the seven Loas, you know, and we still telling the same story though. It's still the Holy Drama, which is the blueprint for the son to rise and ascend to the seat of the father, the prince to become the king. But if the proper reverence is not for the mother, you're not qualified. Your mother got to be able to talk to you to the heart. And you can hear her even for eons after she's crossed over to the other side.
Yo, Brother Rod, Chief Rod, you hit the bullseye. I put on a knot belt, family. I made a knot belt. And listen, I'm encouraging everybody to do this intuitively. You know, use that brick or use that weight to figure out which way the knot makes you feel great. Because I had a knot belt on. Let me just check, make sure. I woke up in the middle of the night and said, Ma! And I yelled so loud, I woke up hearing myself say, Ma! And I was like, what in the world am I doing? I ain't never had nothing like that. Yo, this is some powerful stuff, Chief Rod, Orisha Stone.
You got specific cells on your mitochondria from your mother. Your mitochondria receives your spirit body into your physical form. It's through the mitochondria. How do we know this? Because the mitochondria powers the cell. And if it powers the cell, the source of the power is in the mitochondria. When we dissect the mitochondria, we find the matrix. When you find the matrix, you find the divine mother, the womb of the divine prime creator. So we tell the story still in the Holy Drama. It's the same story.
Special acknowledgement to Nityama, Master Nityama, Shantan Nityama, Master Yao. Special acknowledgement to Tantra Shaman Adara, and to all the mystics in the audience. This is, you know what comes to mind? They messed with our knot after we were born as men, and they call it circumcision, but they cut our knot off.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
They cut off 70% of your sensation as well.
They did what?
Cut off 70% of the sensation as well.
What about the
reason that the sheath is there to protect the most sensitive part? Without the sheath, the sword becomes dull.
Oh,
so you don't just willy-nilly pull your sword out. Right? That's the sacred to the samurai. So the sword without the sheath is the sword that does the fastest. You only pull it out the sheath when it's time to use it.
They want to make us butter knives. Man, that's
another way for saying gelded. See, when you have your full sensitivity and you connect with the similar tissue through the feminine, it's a whole nother world.
Wow.
It's a whole nother world. Now, if you want to circulate the energy, and when you penetrate your tongue, go to the roof of her mouth.
Ooh, Lord.
That's what it feel like.
Mm. Yo, where's your star? I think you need to blow some smoke at the screen when he just said that, man. You know, throw some smoke at that.
I got you. You ready?
Chief Rod, say that again.
Look, so if you want to make the energy circulate, you complete the circuit by putting your tongue in the roof of her mouth.
You know, I'm getting real.
It's the socket and the plug. You can't just plug one side of the socket in and think your light lamp gonna turn on. You need both prongs in the plug.
Now you know what? You got me on. While you talking that, I'm gonna spin my knot right like this here. I'm gonna spin it around. And the next time, slow dance, night dance, I'm gonna do this all around the place. I'm like, oh, you know what? Imagine putting like frankincense oil or some oils on the knots and saying we gonna get busy, or putting oil around a knot and then put that knot around a candle. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or say, yeah.
It's all in the. So everything that you do, you can use to harness energy. You know what a knot is for. You time different knots to harness the energy in a different frequency. Right? You got loop knots, you got bow knots, right? You got box knots. So when you understand that they doing something different, and they are taking on different forms. You got slip knot, look like the figure 8.
You know, it just popped in my head. If I was going to wrap my money up, because family, listen, sisters, a lot of you are going for the hokey doke and just walking around with plastic. And you better have a knot around your money, because if the lights go out, plastic is no good anymore. So you can make that knot you just said, Chief Rod, a slip knot on the money. Better keep some cash in the house. Cash will always be king, family.
Before we had rubber bands, we used to tie it up with strings of twine.
Oh.
Look, if you go to the Boy Scouts, they teach them how to tie knots. Why is that important? They say that it's an intricate part of the survival skills that all boys should know.
Yep.
Now, in the Army, in the Marines, not so much the Air Force, but in the Navy, they got whole classes on knot tying. It's part of being the sailor, the longshoreman, the ability to tie the knots, because you know how to secure massive ships and you know how to secure little boats and everything in the middle. Right? So you're teaching them how to navigate. You got to know which knot to tie on which sail in order to hold it according to its pitch. Right? Now, remember, this is navigation sub-science. Anything that's part of the navigational science, then somebody has used it for conjure magic. And we call it the Moorish science.
Whoa.
And people tend to think because you study the Moorish science that it's the same as the Moorish people. The science is ancient. It's just that certain people was allowed to maintain the sciences and certain people were denied access to the knowledge. And it repeated in cycles until it played out from 1492 to now.
You know, I'm thinking about who put that there? Leonard Brock. Yeah, I want to thank you for that. When you get married, tie the knot. Is that a manifestation of divine union of masculine and feminine, law of gender?
Yeah, so that comes from the period going up, masculine principle, and the period coming down, feminine principle, forming one union to become a balanced Merkaba. You tied the knot. The two became one. The red and the blue became purple. The mortal became immortal.
Oh, the red and blue became purple. Yo, I got a red and blue cord here, and when it's all bundled up together, now where did I put it? I had it in my lap. It looks purple. No, what did I do? I might have flung it. I got excited.
Yeah, I was just about to break down the more science.
Yeah, that's some navigation science, right?
Ancient technology.
So if we went through more short of the round type of literature, yeah, and we went through our Clock of Destiny literature, and then we went through the history of Noble Drew Ali as part of our more studies, we know more Noble Drew Ali was a merchant marine.
I didn't know
And his
that.
travels allowed him access to the knowledge of the navigation of the seas. He was able to pair that with his Cherokee heritage in order to see what was done and how to undo it.
Now you know what? I was looking at you, Chief Rod. You look like you from the Carolinas, man. I'm serious. You got some bloodlines in the Carolinas.
I'm Mississippi Clay Day walking, baby.
Did you hear that? That almost sounds like blues, man.
That old Mississippi Delta where we come from, out the dust of the fields to the green of the land.
That's a song right there. That's a song. Pull out the guitar, pull out the banjo. That's a song right there, bro.
Look, we used to freestyle the blues long before these boys was rapping over Pro Tools. We used to skit and scat in the fields when they was talking about holly rocking in the clubs in the city. Hip hop is ancient. It's the way we talk to ourselves.
You know what? Now you talking music, and music got knots. Music got hooks.
Yeah. You can't have a hook if you ain't got a knot. Because the hook got to be fastened to something in order to reel in the fish. That's why the notes in music is called notes. It's an anagram.
Bam! Man, if I had a special effect, I would have had the screen go boom. That's hot.
Yeah. So when you look at them, you can see that the main musical S symbol goes back to that figure 8, but it has breaks in it, which tells you the breaks separate the rate of the pitch of the music. That's why you got something called a music scale. Because when you know what the pitch and the scale is, then you know what note being played. And this is how you arrive at the A tone. And Farrakhan told y'all about the A tone at the Million Man March.
Yo, this is hot. Yo, can I put up a clip, Chief Rod, of the Sinners where they jammed a little bit? Just a quickie.
I'm the guest. I'm on God's show.
Hold on a second, family.
Where you supposed to go? that came from Europe versus the Mississippi tribes on the land. There's so much symbolism in that movie. That movie is like telling the same story I've been telling for the last 6 years. Look, they call us Lycans because we look like kin when we're not in our animal skin.
Damn, that's another line.
Look, they suck blood and we literally wear wolves.
What you
We
talking about?
wear wolf pelts to war. But they known for sucking baby blood. They are the vampires. Plays out in the
They do that down the street.
plays out in the Twilight Saga. Who do we have to defend us against the incursion of the vampires? Those priests from old Mississippian culture, from the city we call New Orleans, the big E&O. This is where our spiritual defense system was. Because the Port Nola was the intake for all immigrants to the mainland until the hull got breached by the good ship Plymouth. So now we are taking on other vessels because now we being flooded by aliens. Cowboys and aliens. So when the aliens came and breached the hull, they established a corporate jurisdiction in Admiralty and Maritime, which takes you back to Uniform Commercial Code, which takes you back to Admiralty and Maritime control of the high seas by the warring tribes of the Moorish nations.
Man,
and this is why they call some Tony Moore, some Blackamore, and then they call some Phil Moore.
Wow. You know what? You got me thinking. That's a knot. Special acknowledgement to Muhammad Ali. He was a knot master, knew how to whip. He knew how to whip. The knot. The knuckles.
Yeah. What happened to you when you get rheumatism in your hands? Your knuckles knot up.
Orisha Stone, what was that? What kind of knot stick did you have? Did you just had right there in the screen, man? Looked like a gold knot.
Yeah, when I came on initially, we were talking about opening knots and portals. So when you were talking about the winding of the chakras and everything, that are different chakra nodes. Just real quick, and I'll get out the way. The intentions of the knots. Each chakra, each knot has an intention, and when you knot it and you blow on it, that's a ritual. That's what I was getting into about how Arabic actually stole our culture and reversed everything on us, or Islam reversed it. Like he was just saying about the Moor science. It's this Arabic magic versus Moor magic, pretty much. So
get that yellow stick while you talking to us, man.
They played around in the 18th dynasty.
Yeah, especially with the Moors. But the wrapping of the serpent, the interlocking of those two serpents, or the serpent and the roots, those are all spells. So that's what I'm initially thinking about. Like when we talk about the spiritual knots, like he said, tying the knot or tying a Lucifer. These are all spiritual references that they're telling you what it is, but we're kind of missing a lot of what it is. Like when you start studying more science temple, or even if you study Celtic, when you're looking at those Celtic symbols, and we can say wherever the Celtic came from, but those are all knots. Those are spiritual knots, like he said in the language. Arabic, that's language.
That's true science.
Yeah. Now the Arabs or so-called Muslims or Sufis, because that's why I told you initially, the reason I even started studying Voodoo was through Sufism. Sufism has the same different Dikaras saying different prayers, saying different rituals all throughout the day, and you're counting the knots in your fingers. Literally, you see what I'm saying? So that's a ritual within itself. It's ancient magic that you know how to do. Protect yourself, to ask for abundance. It's the same thing when you start tapping into Ifa and all these other things. The only difference is the Arab, when they bring you into Islam, the first rule number one is forget all your old entities, forget all your old cultures, and forget your people, forget your ancestors, while bigging up their ancestors. So the power of the knot is like the Kaaba had what we said 99 different deities inside the Kaaba before they cleaned it out. And they all had different cultures and traditions in there.
Well, it depends on which hadith you go with, because you have some it was 99 idols, and in other renditions it was 360 idols.
That's it.
You know, so but it was represented by all of the tribes of the region. Those were called tehalims. If you remember in the Bible, Abraham's daughter, but I think it was his granddaughter, left with the family tehalim, because that was the symbol for that family's ritual power. It was the centerpiece for the family altar, which the daughter is the one who's supposed to carry the family's hereditary wealth rights. So she take the tehalim, meaning that whoever she marry is going to be the man of the house now. This is why it's good. If you also remember in the Bible, it said man shall leave his mother and father and cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. But you got to also remember religion. The word religion means to tie back.
See that religion means tie back?
Yeah.
Wow.
To tie you back to something, to bind you down. Because it's a secret code in religion called Amin. The Amin spell is the spell of the 18th dynasty Kemetic priest wars, to prevent the ones with the blood and the white from being seen by the rest of the world. This is why they were left in darkness.
This is deep.
When you go back to that Kaaba part, those traditions are in the Hadith. The knots of Anansi. The knots of Anansi. You know what Anansi is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anansi is a spider deity. Or a labor, he deals with knots. All these different things are tying realms together. When you're talking about portals, you're talking about realms. And Nancy and a labor are loosely, I'm not gonna say they're the same, but loosely kind of the same kind of jobs. They're tying things up throughout the universe. Like the mycelium network, those are knots or roots under the ground, right? Tying everything together.
Yeah, it's funny to say that, because the Anasazi tribe break up and go and bring all of the tribes back together.
We all connected. We all connected. The Celtic knots, that means that everything is an infinite loop and energy and everything else. That's why, like I said, everything's ritual. You're jumping the broom and tying the knot. It's a ritual. You know what I'm saying? All those knots are rituals. Everything intention, you when you put your intention into it, you lock it. You said it earlier about putting oil on each one of those knots. Now you're anointing the knot. Then once you're finished doing the ritual with the knot, you throw it down river and let the river take it. You see what I'm saying? They're cutting the way too early, but
that's deliberately done though, because they don't want proper pair bonding between mother and child.
So that goes back to they're trying to delete our ancient cultures, and in those something so simple as those knots, you're realizing how it goes into all these different things. The tying the knot between the man and wife, or the connection from mother and child, is that like they could say it's a knot or whatever when it was tied around the baby's neck or whatever, but the baby was breathing just fine. But yeah, when they cut it, they're cutting the connection. That's not supposed to be cut. It's supposed to naturally, you know what I'm saying, flow. They're cutting a connection with you, or like you said, those knots represent your 7 chakras. Each flow needs a different knot and keep going up. So spiritual terminology. Sufism is only Arabic voodoo.
Chief Rod, Orisha Stone family, I'm going to go and get my djembe, and we're going to look at the knots on the djembe. I'll be right back. Chief Rod, tell us keep going with the knots, brother. I'll be right back.
You see knots in every culture. Like in Buddhist art, Angkor Wat, and in the calligraphy of their temple art, you see a lot of knots. Right.
But it's funny to go straight to that in the beginning. The snakes, when they're mating, they're locking each other up. They're tying each other up. So it's real symbolic. That's why I was like, we could have went real deep with that one. But the spider's web, the energetic web, it is Arabic magic. It is Celtic magic. It is ancient African magic as well. Ancient indigenous magic. It's big. It's just they made us.
All of that used to be the earth rites.
Yeah.
And you used to teach the same thing according to the local culture. This is why Voodoo and Santeria and the religion of the Bantu all look the same. But Santeria is the islanders' way of covering up their traditional culture with the church. With the Catholic Church. So they substituted the Orisha for saints with the same similar characteristics.
And right. You ever notice when they do get the rope, not the rope down, whatever, when certain individuals start waking up to nature and stuff, they have the thing where they tie knots around crystals. You ever seen those it's not always in copper, but sometimes.
Look at the knots.
Now look, when you look at that, the distance from the skin at the top and where all of the knots intersect it's got to be on a certain spot on the drum in order to hold it correctly. All those knots are intentional, weaved into the design of tying down the skin across the bongo. It's not a bongo, but we call them all bongos over here. Or drums.
This is deep.
Yeah, all of that is goes back to the ancient cultures. Because a part of architecture in the intersection of lines, you have to understand what happened if you cross certain lines together in the construction phase. So it's like you deconstructing a knot using 45-degree angles.
I don't know where he went. Okay. All right. Maybe you need to charge his phone. I remember you mentioned, Chief Rod, about, was it you or was it Risha, in the pre-Islamic Arabia, you was talking about a lot. Did you say, was you talking about a lot? And if you had touched on it, tell us about that.
Alat was the moon goddess prior to the advent of Islam. She was the prime deity of the collective tribe. She was the chief deity, the goddess. When the Catholic Church rewrote Islam, they masculinized the feminine. And we don't want to admit that the Catholic Church was responsible for Islam, but their fingerprints is all over the doctrine. From Muhammad's advisors being Christians, his first wife being a Catholic nun, right? So we see the influence of the church, but the doctrine appears different. But when you look at the chapter of Miriam, right, all it is Hail Mary, Mother of God, sacred is thy womb. It's the same thing.
Wow.
So Alat was subverted in the power structure in order for the patriarchs to break up the priestesses that were the original priestesses of the Sufi, which was the divine feminine priests that ruled Arabia until they was attacked in the Hijra. And you know that the Hijra was part of the women's army because they commissioned the elephants. The elephants was under the jurisdictional command of the queens, the female priestesses. She wouldn't just run elephants in the war without cause. That was a different era. We be looking at stuff with modern eyes, but we don't realize the culture of the era and the times make a difference in what you're seeing and what it meant at the time that it happened. Because remember, they only giving us the cliff notes. They're not giving us the intricate day-to-day detail because nobody can write that much stuff down about one person. And we don't really care about when they went to the bathroom, when they washed their ass. That don't need to be in there. Unless it's part of a significant life cliff note, like they was washing their ass and got struck by lightning. That's something to write about. Right? We don't write about people's meals unless we writing about them in the context of like a Last Supper or a sacrificial barbecue that they call a sacrifice, but it was really just a barbecue, and that's why they always talking about the savory sin of the sacrifice. They didn't just kill the animal, they ate that sucker. That's why Yahweh told them to make sure that they bring back all of the ones with no blemish. That means they don't want no defective food products. Bring us the best you got for my meal. Which means Yahweh had to be walking around like a regular man because he was eating sacrifice or barbecue, as we call it today. The altar was the grill. Why you think Abraham was stoking it with sticks when he was about to sacrifice Ishmael? He's about to barbecue his son and eat with the Amuna gods.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's what Icky said. He was like, man, that's crazy. Why you got that man down there about to barbecue his son? Man, how do you put that ram on there instead? So he sent his messenger. And they call him an angel. He was just the guy that come to deliver the message. That's what angel mean. The message deliverer. The mailman. Hey man, the old man said, don't put your son up there, don't barbecue your son. They ain't finna let them eat your son. Put that goat over there. See him stuck in the thicket. Oh yeah, good looking. Barbecue goat pretty good too.
The West Indians up here love some goat. Goat milk, goat cheese, oxtail.
Look, anytime I see a Haitian or a Jamaican restaurant, first thing I ask for is some goat. Do y'all got goat?
What's the difference between goat meat and oxtail meat?
Oxtail is from the cow. Goat is from a goat. In the content and the context of the meat, the bovine beef cow is really too high in what they call saturated fat for human consumption. The excess fat builds up in the brain and gets stuck beyond the blood-brain barrier because in order to get it out there, you need a carrier oil. This is why they ban hemp oil. Hemp oil was a carrier oil. You rub it on your skin and it'll help you to remove the plaque buildup in the brain. But anyway, so the saturated fat of the bovine beef is why we didn't eat beef. This is why the cow was sacred in India. They would use the product of the cow, the urine, the milk, the dung, the blood, but they didn't eat the meat of the cow because the meat of the cow was unfit for human consumption because it causes that plaque buildup in the brain over time. Whereas goat and lamb, that's what you call a omega rich unsaturated fat or polyunsaturated fat, which is like putting a clear liquid oil through the brain instead of lard. So instead of the plaque, which looks like lard in the brain, the clear liquid can also serve as a carrier to break down the larger oils and help get the plaque from beyond the blood-brain barrier. But that go into the healing of age-related disorders, and that's a whole nother topic. Yeah, but that's the difference in the meat, right? And pork became taboo because the class of people who was tasked with farming the pigs used to smell like they farmed pigs. So we ain't want them around. Remember, bathing was only allowed in the royal class. Regular people had to go